My name's Todd Hodnett. We're at Sleepy Hollow, kind of where we started doing all the long-range training with the military on accuracy first, and work with different companies developing different products. With me, it was never something I thought you could actually make a living at. So I grew up on a prairie dog town. So by the time I was 6 years old, I was out shooting, 22s, and it started with BB guns, coming home from school, grabbing a BB gun and an apple, heading out the door. And that transitioned into 22s and hunting constantly, and then it went into 22-250, and now you're doing more longer range stuff. At that time, anything under 1,000, it was, kind of pretty easy to go ahead and harvest within, first 30 minutes of daylight. So I put the guns up. So started bow hunting, and for 7 years, didn't touch a gun, other than just, fun plinking, that kind of thing. And then got into competition, pistol competition, shot cowboy action shooting for about 3 years, won nationals, regionals, states, all that kind of stuff. And then jumped in and started doing teaching. So I'm traveling all over the United States, teaching pistol, basically. And so then there was a ranger group called me up and said, hey, can you give us a pistol class? And I went and gave them a pistol class, and they asked me to stay for a sniper comp that weekend, and I didn't bring a sniper rifle. So ended up borrowing one from one of the guys and shooting in the first comp. Well, it had a Horse reticle, and we had a ballistic engine called A-Trag from Horse at the time, and it was in a little electronic calculator looking thing. So we don't use them anymore, but we've, there for a long time, that's all we had for ballistic engines. So we didn't have apps or anything like that. So I jumped in that night, started studying it, ended up doing pretty well, borrowed the rifle for the next match, which was two weeks later. And so I ended up winning that match, and I didn't understand that was the biggest match, of the year at the time. It was Sniper's Challenge match outside of Dallas. So after I won that, won the next one, and of course I'm winning rifles now, with scopes, with the same reticle. So I gave the guy back his gun, and so ended up. Horse called me up and said, "Hey, you're winning all these matches with our product. Would you do some military demos for us?" I was ranching and farming at the time, so I was like, sure. It was kind of in the fall, didn't have anything to do. So they sent me to Quantico to do a demo with the Marine Corps, and that's a whole nother long story in itself. From there, went ahead and did some more demos. I think it was in Yuma. It was the first kind of test that we ran for extreme long range weapon systems. They were looking for something in the 338 world or something like that. They really didn't know, at the time what they was looking for. But it was basically the first PRS study or PSR study in Doppler use. So we were shooting at 500, 1,000, 1,500, and 2,000. And so we were able to shoot a real nice group at 1,000, shot a 2.5-inch group with the winds and everything, so we got real lucky. And Det 1 was there behind us and said, hey, would you come teach us how to do what you're doing? So, and this was all their more elite top guys, something that you'd be more familiar with some of the other Tier 1 community guys. So we started with them. Recon came out on the range while we were there doing training. And they said, hey, would you come back and teach us? And I said, when do you want me? And they said, 3 weeks. So I went back and taught them. Well, the Det 1 guys said, hey, you hadn't taught us how to shoot, and you're just teaching us the equipment. I said, that's what you asked. And so they said, we want to hire you for a month. So we went up to Utah to a buddy of mine's property, and we did training up there for a full month with the Det 1 guys. And then when I came back home, 7th group was at the house. They wanted training, and then some other units came up pretty quick, and then it just started snowballing. So we went from ranching and farming, and basically within a year, we had jumped into full-blown sniper training. And it was, I think we did 4 classes the first year, 8 classes the next, 16 the next, and then we're fully booked for the last, since about 2003 is where we really started kicking off. The Kessle is by far probably the best tool that a long gunner has had in the last 20 years, just because it's small, it's in your hand, it gives you the right information. And what's nice about Kestrel is we're always growing, we're always changing. After that, we have the accuracy first page and all the different stuff that we added into that. And so that relationship is huge.